This is something that somebody told me about 20 years ago. Like I said, unfortunately, I do not know his name anymore, but it's about 3 circles. So first of all, you have the small circle, which is the comfort zone, actually, the comfort circle. Then you have the stress circle, which is a bit bigger. And then you have your panic zone, actually. You have your largest circle, which is your panic zone. And the guy explained to me, well, just think about your normal life. And what do? Well, you can just relax in your comfort zone. Like me, for example, to give a practical example, I do a lot of mountain biking, and I started off like 5 or 6 years ago with this. And the first thing you do is, okay, you get on the bike and you start riding in mud. It's the first time you ride in mud, so it's not in your comfort zone anymore, it's in your stress zone. So he says, okay, every time when you go into that stress zone, you actually enlarge your comfort zone so you feel relaxed and comfortable afterwards in a bigger zone. So that's actually the theory. But he said, imagine again the same example as with my mountain biking. If you decide after 1 week to go downhill at approximately 50 kilometers an hour in mud, in the rain, possibly even in snow, well, that's going to be in your panic zone. So everything you have to do is you have to make sure that you are in your comfort zone. Every now and then you go into your stress zone in order to enlarge your comfort zone. But from the moment that you go into that panic zone, you start panicking and you get stress all over the place and nothing works anymore. So it's all about getting a balance between comfort and stress. And then he made me think like, okay, that's a nice idea. And actually, if you think about it, it's something that you really do every single day in real life, because you want to grow as a person, you want to learn new things. So every single time when you want to grow, you need to step into that stress zone. And this is also what we need to do in testing, actually. Because what I see when I look at these conferences, when I talk to people in testing, we have a lot of knowledge, theoretical knowledge on testing. We have our certificates, we have our degrees, I don't know what. And people tend to stay in there, in that comfort zone. Like, okay, this is easy, we are relaxed, we are testing, and nobody can touch us anymore because we have the knowledge. So you stay in there. But if you stay in there, and you keep on staying in there actually, you will never grow as a person in testing, and you will always stay in the same position. So your comfort zone does not enlarge. So what I miss with a lot of people in testing is actually, okay, try to step out of that comfort zone and just try something new every now and then. To give an example, in the testing world, you are a test manager or a test coordinator for a certain project, and all of a sudden they say, okay, we have this new project, is an SAP environment, do you want to do it? And then people might say, well, no, I don't have any experience on the SAP environment, so not really. I would like to stay in my own project. But it's by going into those new kinds of projects that you say, okay, my comfort zone is getting bigger, you start to learn about SAP, you start to learn about ERP in general, so your comfort zone grows and grows. So that next time when somebody says, okay, would you like to do an SAP project for us? Yes, absolutely. I feel comfortable in my SAP project. Same thing with testing. If we look at testing, we have defined, for example, the V model. In V model, we say we have unit testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. There's a few more test levels. But we always stick to these things. And I've never heard somebody say, well, maybe we should challenge it. Maybe we could create a new test level. For our specific project, we need a new test level. So it's just by challenging these things that you can actually grow as a tester. And what we tend to do is we actually tend to hide behind our knowledge thing. Like, we are the tester, we use our knowledge in order to impress people every now and then, but we also hide behind it. Something else we hide behind is actually we hide behind politics. I just saw a presentation on politics from Jan-Jaap Kannegieter, who was right here in front of me. And he said, well, everything is about politics, because you have to talk to people, and those people have their own agenda and stuff like that. But what do? Every time when we want to make a change, we already say up front, well, we're not going to do that. No, well, why not? Well, there's politics going on. We can never fight politics. And that's something that no, we can fight politics. Because if you look at politics, there's always the parties in the government, which we don't have in Belgium at the moment, but so it's a strange example for us now, but you have parties in the government, but you also have the other ones who actually challenge those parties. And this is something that we can also do in testing, because if you hide behind a thing like, okay, there is politics, we are not going to challenge those politics, okay, then you sit in your comfort zone, you just put a wall of politics around you, and that's it. And it will make your life easier at the moment, but it will make your life quite boring in the end. So you just need to step out of your comfort zone, break that wall of politics around you and say, okay, I'm going to challenge it, and yes, I'm going to mention something that is politically not right. Who knows, maybe somebody picks it up, and it will make you grow as a person. Another thing that we hide behind, and which is also creating us being relaxed in the comfort zone, is we hide behind our own role as a tester. It was like the keynote this morning, James Whittaker said, well, there are no testers anymore. The only thing that I would like to do is just fire all my testers. That's what he said. And I was like, okay. And I said, well, everybody is a tester. And that is also what we do. If you look at testing, we say, well, you're asking me to think about something. Nah, it's not in my function description. Nah, that's something for the functional analyst or for the business analyst. Well, this is more business related. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just the tester. Well, it's very easy to say this. It's absolutely very easy. So, no, just accept those things. Just say like, okay, I am the tester in this project, but yes, I can perform some tasks of an analyst. Why not? I can also think about a product. I can also think about new things. So I'm actually stepping out of my role as a tester in order to learn new things so that my role as a tester actually grows and I learn to be a better tester actually. That is what I'm trying to explain over here. It's just by stepping out of your comfort zone that you can really learn to create your comfort zone a lot bigger than before, and that you can really learn to become a better tester. Only thing is, what I already mentioned in the beginning, try to stay out of your panic zone, because that's what sometimes happens. You see testers and they say, well, yeah, well, I can be a project lead as well. So they step into the project lead and they say role and they say, well, this and that and that. No, that's not the way it works. It needs to go with small steps and you grow smoothly into a new role. You don't just step from one place to another. And so you stay out of that panic zone, because if you are in that panic zone quite often, your comfort zone becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. Why? Because you start becoming afraid of getting new challenges. So whenever you accept a new challenge, make sure that you're in your stress zone, but not in your panic zone. And this is actually, and maybe it sounds strange why I'm so enthusiastic about these things, but it really works. And now I'm explaining it in the testing world, but actually those 3 circles, just think about it in everyday life. They are relevant in every single situation. To give you a very concrete example, actually, I was working together for almost 2 years with an autistic person. Because you have the firm in Denmark, Specialisterne, and they have a bunch of autistic people who are actually consultants in testing. We have the same in Belgium. We have Paswerk. And the client that I was working for also hired one autistic person, and I was supposed to be his coordinator. First of all, that brought me in my stress zone. Why? They asked me, do you want to do that? I said, yes, please. Because I heard a lot about it, I would like to have an experience. So it's in my stress zone as well. But it was definitely in his stress zone. Why? Because, well, I pushed him into his stress zone. Normally, if you hire an autistic person, you create a very closed framework, and they just execute what you ask from them. I started that way, and then I said, well, I think you can do a lot more actually. And so I asked him to take one step at a time, and he grew and he grew and he grew, and it was amazing. The guy was actually living with his parents when he started the assignment. Afterwards, he had an apartment in Antwerp, and he came to me and he said, I was the only person he talked to actually. That's the strange thing with him. He only talked to me. So the rest of the people he ignored. And he came to me and said, yeah, I rented an apartment in Antwerp and I feel comfortable. And that was amazing, actually. And I'm not saying that I pushed him into renting an apartment, but in his job, I really tried to push him into his stress zone. And especially with autistic persons, you can really see physical signs of them being in a stress zone. We start getting nervous from the inside, and maybe we start sweating a little bit, but they actually become really nervous, and they start, oh, what do I have to do? And that's the good thing about them. They show it. We don't show it. So he showed it, so I knew when he was in a stress zone, and I also knew when he was in a panic zone. But in his job, and one of his managers is actually over here, so I also told him, I said, the guy that we worked with actually grew as a tester, so I really hope that his next assignments are actually more than you think he can handle. And he told me, yeah, we also noticed, and so, yes, to answer your question, with this example, I also try to push other people into their stress zone, because I've seen a few times that it really works. But then again, if you push them in the panic zone, they will lose their trust in you, and then it's a bit difficult, of course.